Now let's focus on some corporates. It's been exactly a month since Symphony declared their June quarter results. Since that weak quarterly performance, the stock is down 20%. The demand sentiment in the summer season impacted that quarter. Will the monsoons and the heavy ones that we're now seeing impact this quarter? Let's get a sense of how things are shaping up. Joining us on the phone line is Rajesh Mishra, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Symphony. Rajesh, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. How are things working up? I remember on the conference call, Achal Bakeri and Rupesh had mentioned that the inventory in the pipeline is still high, and therefore it's difficult to predict by when would the numbers claw back.
Yeah, so as you know that this season, the season which ended was not such a great season. We had a bad season, and because of that there was a lot of inventory pile up at the trade level, and also at our level we were left with some inventory. And this quarter we have begun pretty well, and we are very confident that in this quarter and by maybe end of next quarter we should be able to recover from whatever jolts we face, and should be back on track.
Hi Rajesh, this is Navneet. I'm just going to take that question forward which Neeraj asked. In fact, post-earnings interaction also with the management, you guys highlighted that inventory levels were pretty high. Just want to get a sense, in the last 2 months now of the second quarter, how much of the inventory have you been able to monetize?
So we expect all of our inventory to be monetized hopefully by October. So we already have sizable orders which we have received from our channel partners, and we are in the process of supplying, and we expect that by October we should be able to monetize our inventory.
Rajesh, would that also mean, since you're giving an indication till October, that the top line for second quarter could also be subdued, because we had seen a very sharp fall in your domestic business in the first quarter?
Yeah, because the impact on the first quarter was a bit too much. So we, to recover, we may take a quarter or a couple of quarters. So we do expect, the Q2 to be a bit subdued.
Okay. The belief was, Rajesh, and I don't know if you look at the overall gamut of sales on the international level as well, but when you announced the Australian acquisition, the belief was that in that weak season for the Indian markets, those markets will come to the fore. How is the expectations from the second half, particularly the OND quarter or the Jan-Feb-March quarter?
So as far as this climate technologies is concerned, this acquisition actually kind of got completed on 30th of June. So this quarter we will have a consolidated result wherein the CT kind of numbers will also be merged, and we expect that with CT kind of coming into picture, our overall international numbers will definitely get a major boost. And currently we are doing almost like 20-22% of our overall sales is coming from international markets, which after this CT acquisition we believe that will be like in the range of 40-45%.
Okay, so that 40 to 45% figure that you're mentioning will be throughout the year, because I guess in the first quarter international business contributed almost 40%.
Yes, the international markets we going forward should be contributing 40%.
What's the roadmap ahead, Rajesh, considering we've seen a very, very sharp fall when it came to your top line, bottom line, and also the margins this time around? But I'm sure your shareholders would want to know, for the entire year now, what sort of numbers can you do? Because last year your full revenues were somewhere about closer to 800, your margins were somewhere closer to 27 to 28%. Will you be able to match those numbers?
Obviously, I mean that's what we're looking at, and actually on a long-term basis, we stand committed to delivering a 15 to 20% CAGR, and basically these bad seasons are aberrations, and going forward we don't expect these things to kind of happen so often. We have had 2 back-to-back bad summers, and there's a strong reason to believe that the coming season should should be very good for us. And also what is important is the fundamentals are pretty strong. We have a very, very strong brand. We have a nationwide distribution network, very innovative products. So everything else is in place. So if we get a good summer in the coming season, I think we will be able to bounce back pretty strong.
Essentially saying that until then, there is no predictability.
See, as far as the overall sales is concerned, yes, we are hopeful that we will, as I said, we'll bounce back by in a couple of quarters. So things should be back to normal pretty soon.
Rajesh, because of the climate, I guess, and the sort of nature of the products that you guys manufacture, hence, the performance was impacted. But also as a company, Symphony did not follow its peers when it came to the first quarter of offering discount and trying to liquidate inventory. And probably that was the reason you guys were able to maintain your gross margins too. Is that the approach you're going to follow for, the coming quarters as well? Or would you, look at reworking the strategy?
Actually, we don't believe in any kind of a knee-jerk reaction, because any knee-jerk reaction will have a long-term implication. Today, Symphony has earned a huge respect with its trade partners because of our uniform discount structure. Just because we have, huge inventory, we cannot resort to abrupt discounting, which will impact the inventory of trade, people who have already invested and who are carrying stocks. Now, this is something which competition easily does, but, we strongly believe that it is important for us to also take care of our partners, and so we are not looking at doing any abrupt discounting, but yes, we do have a strategy in place to ensure that the volumes come, and hopefully things should be much better.
Okay, Rajesh, we'll leave it at that note and wish you all the best for the remainder of this fiscal year.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's the management of Symphony. The numbers were definitely impacted, and we've seen that sort of impact also coming on the stock price. In the last 1 month, it has corrected. But lastly, I believe the brokerages have been positive on this one, and the reason for that is GST, because Symphony still controls 50% of the organized market where they operate in, and majority of this market is actually still held by the unorganized market. So there is a room for shift from unorganized to organized market. Okay, moving away.